Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Uh, wanted to talk a little something about, some more about free agency and what exactly is going on, or I should say, what's not going on. But because there's still some big names out there that still have not been signed, which is really odd. But before I get into that, of course, I'd like to welcome you. And if if you're new to the channel and this happens to be the first video that you see, hopefully you enjoy it. If you do, I would love it and greatly appreciate it if you hit that like button and the subscribe button. That would be absolutely fantastic. It would be greatly appreciated. Don't be afraid to let your friends know that, there's this crazy hockey nut from Minnesota who just loves talking hockey. And some might wonder, why are you wearing the Whalers? I was like, just trying to figure out what to wear, and I'm like, it's been a bit since I've worn this particular Whalers jersey, which love this. Wish this is another team that I wish would come back, but sadly I don't think that will happen. But while we're thinking about that, the free agent market, what is going on? I don't know what's necessarily going on here. There's a lot of these big name free agents out there that still haven't signed anywhere. I mean, are they all waiting for Nazem Kadri? This is what I'm trying to figure out. I don't know why a lot of these guys are waiting. Why is John Klingberg not signed with a team? Why is he still not signed? Well, Phil Kessel, why is he still dangling out there? Paul Stastny, why is he still out there? Zach Aston Reese, PK Subban. I mean, some of these guys are these are some pretty big names, and they're still out there. I don't get it. I don't know why a lot of these guys are still available. We're almost to August. What are they waiting for? I mean, are they really all waiting for Nazem Kadri to sign and figure out what he signed for, and then all of a sudden the domino effect go? I don't know. I don't understand this. I really don't. Sonny Milano is a free agent. He was not given a qualifying offer from the Anaheim Ducks, so he's an unrestricted free agent. Why? Sonny Milano is not that expensive. Sonny Milano, his cap hit last year was $1.7 million. Why is he unsigned? And I understand, the cap space for a lot of these teams. There's like 10 teams right now that are over the cap. So, a lot of these teams, I think they're losing cap space. They're signing some of these other guys, but their cap space is dwindling because, unfortunately, we're still going to be in a flat cap era for probably at least the next 2 years, which is really odd when you think about it, because the NHL, they're trying to make back what they lost during the pandemic, but yet the revenues, of course, now that they're back on ESPN, which they never should have been off in the first place, because how big could the revenues have been if they never would have left ESPN, even after the lockout, the lost season, if they would have just gone, and still stayed with ESPN, what would the revenues be today? The revenues now, they're back up to pretty much where they were in 2019. Actually, I think they're a little higher. Why, I don't understand the whole idea. I mean, I know there's the whole escrow thing that the players are having to pay back and pay into, and it's very complicated. But just the whole idea of the cap remaining flat for possibly at least the next 2 years, and then when the cap does go up, it's gonna like 10 million, like a $10 million jump. So yeah, that's so I think that is one reason. I think a lot of these teams are, their cap space is not the greatest. And let's see if I go back here, because this, I love Cap Friendly. I really have become a big fan of Cap Friendly, because this is, I mean, they have all the, I mean, they have everything laid out. It's so neat. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There are 10 teams that are above the cap right now. That are above the cap. So, so they have no cap space right now. Tampa is the highest. Tampa's got over $7 million. They're almost $7.2 million over the cap. So, I mean, there's not much that they can really do here at all. And I mean, I look at some of these, and it just, some of these free agents I look at, and I'm like, they're not. I mean, like a guy like Sonny Milano. You couldn't get him for that same. You couldn't get him for $2 million a year. I look at a team like my hometown team here, the Minnesota Wild. Now, granted, the Wild, their projected cap space right now is only $4.3 million, but you're saying you couldn't go out and get Sonny Milano, pay him $2 million for 2-3 years? You couldn't do that? Sonny Milano, he's pretty good. He's really a pretty good player. Now, I mean, some of these other guys, that have had the big cap hits, like PK Subban. We know Kadri is looking for at least probably $8 million a year, probably $9 million. He's probably looking for closer to $9 million. But I look at the teams, and we keep thinking, like, especially with Kadri and Klingberg, we keep thinking that eventually they're going to re-sign with their current teams. Kadri re-signing in Colorado, Klingberg re-signing in Dallas. But we wonder, why hasn't that happened? They've got to trade guys out. They have to drop salary. They have to trade guys out and drop some salary to be able to afford to bring back in guys like Klingberg and Kadri. And Klingberg's wanting, Klingberg's wanting big money too. He's wanting like, I think what was it that I was hearing initially? He was wanting 8 times 8. I think he was looking for 8 years, 8 million per, which Klingberg's pretty good, but I don't think he's $8 million good. But Kadri could be interesting. And I look at some of the teams out here that could maybe afford Nazem Kadri. I mean, you've got Calgary, who I've heard they've kind of been kind of kicking the tires on there. Recently, I was hearing the New York Islanders might be taking a run at Nazem Kadri, which Kadri on the Islanders, that could be interesting. But and I look at some of these other teams. I mean, it's weird that Dallas is toward the bottom here, and here's the other thing. Dallas has their projected cap space is almost $11.5 million. Why is Klingberg not signed? You're telling me you can't bring John Klingberg in for? I mean, I know Klingberg's wanting, he's wanting like a 7 or an 8 year deal worth about $8 mil per. I don't think he's going to get that, especially the further that we go. The further we go into the summer here, and the closer we get to the start of the season, some of these guys, I figured, especially like with Kadri, because I had said this in an earlier video that I thought everybody's waiting on Kadri. Once Kadri signs, that's when everybody's going to start signing. Well, we're almost to August. Kadri still hasn't signed anywhere. Neither is anybody else then. Subban, Klingberg, Milano, Paul Stastny. It's just it's odd. It's really odd that a lot of these teams, a lot of these guys haven't made up their minds yet. I think in a lot of ways they're looking at, how much can I make? How much money can I make? And how big of a hit is it going to be against the cap? And it's just it's weird. Now, I mean, there has been rumors of Kessel potentially going to Edmonton. Like I said, that's total rumor and innuendo. I mean, there's it's just been thrown out there. But when it comes to rumors like that, I'm not about to jump headlong into rumors, and then when the rumor gets shot to hell, I'll be like, well, what were you were saying this, he was going here, like, So I don't really delve big time into the whole rumor thing, but it's out there that Kessel maybe to Edmonton. Who knows? Again, that's one of the things, gotta wait and see. But it kind of makes you wonder how much longer are we gonna have to wait? How much longer do we have to wait on some of these guys? Because I still think once Kadri signs, I think a lot of these guys are gonna go. They're waiting to see what he makes. And I just, I don't know. The fact that each day goes by and there's no news on it, on Kadri signing anywhere, whether it's with Colorado or with another team somewhere, it's weird. It seems odd that that there's no movement. There hasn't been any movement at all. So it's crazy. And again, the fact that a lot of these teams don't have, 10 teams are above the cap right now, which is insane to think about. But it's just I look at some of these teams, and these are some good teams. Tampa, Washington, Florida, Edmonton. Well, Edmonton's Kessel to Edmonton. How would that work? Edmonton's almost $3 million over. How would that work? Vancouver is over the cap. Toronto, Pittsburgh, Vegas, of course. when isn't Vegas over the cap? They're basically having to give guys away to get under the cap. And even when they're giving guys away, they still can't get under the cap. Columbus has made some moves. There's some interesting teams here that could be in the running for some of these guys. San Jose doesn't have a lot of cap space. LA doesn't have a lot of cap space. Colorado definitely doesn't have enough cap space to re-sign Kadri. They only have a little over $3.9 million in cap space. Yeah, Kadri's not going to sign for that. He ain't going to sign for that. So they've got to figure out some way. They're going to have to trade at least one guy to be able to re-sign Kadri. Will they be able to? I don't know. And I look at some of these teams and I'm like, okay, would a guy like Kadri want to go to a team like the Winnipeg Jets? They have $8 million in cap space. Now if you sign Kadri to $8 million, well, there's the whole rest of your cap. But Calgary could be an option. Chicago, Kadri would not want to go to Chicago with what Chicago is going through. And this is where I've heard the Islanders have started trying to kick the tires there. It's interesting. Here's a dark horse. Nazem Kadri to Ottawa? Maybe. Ottawa's been making some moves this off season. They're trying to make a play that hey, we want to get back into that playoff picture. So who knows? Kadri to Ottawa? I don't know. It's gonna be very interesting. But again, just the fact that a lot of these guys they're still out there and still haven't signed anywhere. It just, especially Kadri, because Kadri's, I think, the biggest name that's out there that hasn't signed anywhere yet. So, I think it's a little crazy that it still could be on Kadri to determine whether or not what all the other free agents get. But some of these guys, they gotta get off the pot here. We're almost to August and they're still out there. I just, why? I don't know. I'd love to know your guys' thoughts on this. Why have these guys not signed anywhere? Is it because of the cap situation for a lot of these teams? Knowing that if they want to sign some of these guys, they're going to have to make trades to, move salary out so they can sign them. And for some of these guys, like Kessel, like Kadri, like Stastny, like Klingberg, do they re-sign with the teams that they have been with, or do they sign elsewhere? And where potentially would they sign? I'd love to know your guys' thoughts on that. And yeah, free agent frenzy. We haven't had much of a frenzy, especially with some of the big name free agents that are still available. Not much of a free agent frenzy so far, or at least we haven't seen free agent frenzy 2.0 yet. So again, what do you guys think? Where do you think they land? How much, when do they get signed? When potentially could they get signed? Where would they get signed? What might, just give me your thoughts on that. Where do you guys think they'll sign? Will they sign back with their old teams? Will they sign with new ones? who knows? But as it gets closer to August, it's got to happen at some point. So I thank you guys for being here. Again, if you were new and you were just cruising on through and you just happened to see this video, hopefully you enjoyed it. Don't be afraid to check out some of the other videos. If you like those, hit that like and subscribe button. That would be so very appreciated. And yeah, free agents still out there. Crazy. I'll talk to you guys again later.